I like the merit. I like the competency. I like the skills in action and what a person can bring to the table. That's, I think, what really makes an interview for me when hiring.
Hey everyone, David Bombal back with a very exciting person. I'm going to be talking to John. John, probably best if you introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let's talk about a topic that I think is dear to your heart.
Hey there, David. Yeah, thanks so much for letting me come be here with you. My name is John Hammond. I have a YouTube channel where I try and showcase cybersecurity videos like capture the flag walkthroughs, malware analysis, and stuff like that. And my day job, I work as a security researcher. So I'm super happy to be hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, I looked at on your YouTube channel, and I mean, we were discussing it offline. You've got some fantastic walkthroughs of CTFs that you've done. So anyone who's watching, I strongly recommend that you go and look at John's channel. I'll link it below. Go and have a look at the walkthroughs that he's done on his CTFs. And John, I'm kind of like spoiling it now. What are we going to talk about right now?
Well, hey, I think it might be cool to jump into some capture the flag conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the term, because let's start from the very basics. Hopefully I can convince you to do multiple videos. And we can start off with some basics here, and then we can get more and more detailed and more technical. And for everyone's benefit, I've twisted John's arm to, show us actually how to do it. And I don't think there's anyone better than himself to show us. So, John, tell me, what is CTF, and why are you like such an advocate of them?
Sure thing. Yeah. So CTF, or capture the flag, at a high level is kind of a gamified like puzzle, and that's not the right word for it, but it's an exercise, it's an activity, it is a game to try and learn cybersecurity or computer science or IT or computer skills, right? Whether it's going to be understanding web applications and web security, or forensics like memory on a computer, or network forensics or host forensics. It can get into cryptography, it can get into binary exploitation, and any other miscellaneous thing. There's so much out there. Typically it comes in a couple different flavors. There's like a style of a CTF, or the game type known as Jeopardy, where it goes through those different categories like I just mentioned, kind of an Olympic style thing, where they're just different categories for what you might be focusing in. There are also attack and defense CTFs. There are hack quests, I think is a formal term. There isn't really a good community defined term for something like maybe a boot to root, where you have a virtual machine you can try and break into, or anything else, maybe a King of the Hill style game. There are a lot of different flavors, but it's all about learning and it's all about having fun.
So I mean, why do you advocate it? Like, if I want to get into cybersecurity, why would you think it's a good idea to do CTFs?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, hey, how do I get into this industry? How do I don't know, learn cybersecurity or do more with programming or computer science? And truthfully, there's no like one size fits all answer. The path isn't linear, but in my opinion, truthfully, personally, I think that capture the flag is one of the best ways to do it, because it is hands-on. It's practical, it's application-based. You're really on the keyboard and working through cybersecurity challenges or computer science tasks and exercises. So you learn so much more because you get exposed to technology and software that you wouldn't otherwise, and you're not just sitting through a PowerPoint or kind of having your eyes glaze over listening to something. You're actively doing it. And I think so much more learning comes from that.
Okay, controversial question. I've got to, I like to push guests when I speak to them. So controversial question: certifications or CTFs or both? What would you recommend someone do? Would they go and get like CH? I've heard a lot of people bash CH. Would you recommend they do CTFs, do combination? Like, if you're starting out, what would you recommend?
Yeah, so there are a lot of good points in there. I do agree, like, certifications are excellent and great and awesome. Personally, I lean towards more those merit-based and competency-based and the skill-focused certifications. Like, hey, the exam or the final capstone challenge is you doing something, like breaking into a network or showing that you've defended and put in these security protections, etc. It's an active thing. Some of the certifications or some of the exams or tests that are rote memorization and just kind of a data dump
Yep.
going through multiple choice. Those I don't hold as much water to personally. I think the practical stuff is really where it's at.
So, I mean, do you have any recommended certs? I want to get to the practical CTF stuff in a moment, but just while I think about this, if you were starting out, is there a cert that you would recommend? And what would you recommend? Sorry,
for an absolute beginner, maybe if you kind of want to dip your toes in the water, and you do kind of just want to see, hey, is the cybersecurity thing totally right for me? I do really like CompTIA Security Plus.
Okay.
But someone might be saying like, hey, John, you just said you wanted something like practical and hands-on.
Yep.
Security Plus was my very first certification. I got it because I kind of needed it for my job. But I think that's great to get an understanding of the world of security. And if you do want to be on keyboard, if you do want to be an operator, if you kind of want to be in this thing, there is a lot of value in understanding the offense, kind of knowing how the adversary works. And that's why those red team things, that's why those penetration testing stuff and hacking like in the movies, right? In the Hollywood movies, that's why that's fun. And eLearn Security Junior Penetration Tester, EJPT, I think that is a great one to continue. If you're not getting your feet wet, you're at least getting in the pool, kind of wading your way around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great one to get started. Then I'm sure there are conversations of OSCP, Offensive Security Certified Professional. There are a ton now of excellent certifications that are really hands-on and practical.
But I mean, you would balance that with doing CTFs at the same time, is that right?
Absolutely. It's funny when folks ask like, hey, I've got the certification exam coming up. I've speed ran through the course. I went through the book. I've watched all the videos. Now what do I do? How do I keep practicing this? So many times the answer is, hey, spin up HackTheBox or go bump around on TryHackMe or go play some Capture the Flag on CTFtime.org, whatever weekend game is running. There's so much.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So let me ask you another difficult question. Sorry. Top 5 CTFs, and what would you recommend someone started with?
Ooh, this is funny. This is a conversation I had with Daniel Lowry over from IT Pro TV. Some that we were doing, and my answers were weird, truthfully. So I think to get into security, and if you're just starting out, I pitched PicoCTF as maybe the number one, super beginner friendly hand-holding thing to get started. I mentioned All Army Cyber Stakes, which was kind of one more, I think, pertinent to me and not as applicable to some folks because it focuses more on kind of government and military folks. But I pitched that. So there's value in doing the exercises that your organization or whatever company or business is putting on to see, hey, do you know your stuff? Can you show your skills? Then I mentioned TryHackMe and HackTheBox, which aren't strictly Capture the Flag. Those are kind of in the war game, online cyber range and practice arena environment. But I think those are still exceptional and great for getting started. And then my fifth pillar in the top 5 CTFs takes a different spin on it. It's the best CTF, or one of the other things you can learn the most from, is hosting your own Capture the Flag. Like, understanding the challenges so much so that you can, spin them up yourselves and stand them up. Like, here's a vulnerable server I want someone else to break into. Here's some exploit thing that they could take advantage of. And then putting that on the world stage, and especially knowing that, okay, maybe you're going to have 100 people come play your CTF. Maybe you're going to have 1,000. Maybe you're going to have 5,000. How can they safely hack or take advantage of vulnerable applications in an environment that's still not vulnerable and safe against all these other players? It's a live hacking competition. There's so much learning that comes from hosting your own Capture the Flag.
Okay, so now you mentioned a few things. So I'm a beginner. Now you mentioned TryHackMe, HackTheBox aren't truly CTFs. That's what you said. Can you explain what you mean by that? Yeah.
So I think in the classic vanilla Capture the Flag philosophy, right? If that's the right word for it. It's a Jeopardy style game, or it's an attack and defense style game. It's maybe going to run for a day, maybe an 8-hour competition, or a weekend, maybe 2 days, or sometimes they can even be as long as a week or 2 weeks. But they have that allotted time for the competition, for the people to climb up and down the leaderboard. Things like TryHackMe or HackTheBox or Over the Wire or maybe the Sans Holiday Hack Challenge or Smash the Stack or Ring Zero. Again, I could go on and on about all these
that's a lot.
games. Yeah. Those are always available. They're always online, and the leaderboard is constantly in flux. So I guess I tend to call those, we refer to those as a war game, like an online practice arena.
So you've mentioned quite a few now. Which one would you recommend someone start with?
So everyone kind of has their own love and interest, right? The thing that they
this is your opinion, and I really respect your opinion, and a lot of people do. So tell us just what you would recommend as, John Hammond.
So if you're learning, if you are getting started, personally, I tend to offer up TryHackMe because TryHackMe is exceptional for learning. It has guided rooms, is kind of what they call their activities, their exercises, is all bundled and encapsulated in a room where you're presented with multiple tasks and assignments and things to do. And it'll be, hey, here's a virtual machine you can break into, or here's a file that you can carve out the flag or the key or the token that proves you solved it. And a lot of those rooms are guided, where they'll give you a walkthrough. They'll tell you like, hey, try this thing or follow these steps, and you'll work closer and closer towards your goal. And they're super willing and totally transparent to give you a write-up or a solution by community-submitted members all along the way. So I've heard a lot of conversations and a lot of comparisons where a lot of the other war games, HackTheBox being a strong name, HackTheBox is a great training tool. Like you're going to the gym, you want to test your skills, you're going to lift those big weights, see how much you can do.
Yeah.
But TryHackMe is an excellent learning tool. Like, hey, we got the training wheels on. We just want to see how far we can go on our bicycle here. And the whole point is to learn. There's not a big risk because we can always check out the answers and peek behind the curtain to see what really we can do. TryHackMe is an excellent learning tool. And I think that's what a lot of people might want to look into.
So, John, you would recommend TryHackMe if you want those training wheels, is that right? And then when you get a bit more confident and you really want to push yourself, do you actually know what you think you know type thing, then HackTheBox may be a good choice. Is that right?
Absolutely. I think it is kind of an iterative process, to be honest, and there's nothing wrong with kind of bouncing back and forth. Like, test yourself. If you feel like you kind of got some wings beneath you and you're cruising, you're feeling confident, then try and go take on a room or a box and make sure, hey, I'm not going to go look in the forums for any other tips, or I'm not going to go beg in Discord servers for hints. Try and test yourself and see how far you can go. And no hand holding. But if you want to go back and forth, if you're like, hey, I need to take a breather, I just kind of want to learn something without banging my head against the wall, without beating myself up for a day or a week, not making any progress, then, hey, go try and learn something new that's guided and has a walkthrough for you.
And just to emphasize, so TryHackMe is the don't beat your head against the wall, guided, lots of help, and then HackTheBox. And some of the others are more like it's up to you now. Is that right?
Yeah, there is a duality in there.
Okay.
I'll say you're right, absolutely. TryHackMe does have challenge rooms where they aren't guided. They're like, hey, go get the flag, go, and then you're off. And HackTheBox has their new HackTheBox Academy, which is more of that kind of hand-holding, guided learning. Here's the process, here's the walkthrough. And they all complement each other. And again, each has their different flavor. But I recommend to anyone, go look, go tinker, go explore, go see kind of what you like and what works best for you. And
you can do a lot for free, can't you? So there's nothing stopping you trying.
Yes. So those war games that we've been discussing, TryHackMe and HackTheBox, do have a paid tier, kind of a subscription model, but a lot, and a lot of their content is totally available for free. And get your feet wet, go tinker.
Now, one you haven't.
There's no risk.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's great. I mean, one thing you didn't mention is VulnHub. What's your opinion about VulnHub?
Yeah, Yeah, VulnHub is excellent. I guess maybe I'm not too smart on it personally. I truthfully don't end up going over into VulnHub all that often, and I really should. But you can download different virtual machines, kind of the same setup as TryHackMe and HackTheBox, and beat them up and try and break into them, test your penetration testing skills. But truthfully, and this might be me not being aware of it. I don't know if there's a leaderboard. I don't know if there's kind of the community surrounding it. It's a great repository of training material, but I might not be in the know as to what else they have set up.
No, I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's interesting because Daniel likes VulnHub, and he was downloading a bunch. He said he likes to download them and use them in his courses. So, I mean, it's great to get different viewpoints. The one that I didn't know about is the PicoCTF. Is that right? How is that different, or what's the spin on that one?
Yeah. So PicoCTF is a more classic and vanilla capture the flag that has a competition time window, right? It'll run for, I think, 2 weeks because they make it really accessible. And then they'll leave the platform up and open so it essentially becomes a war game, totally available and totally accessible for anyone throughout the year. And they have a new one every year. It's always excellent. It's put on by kind of the Carnegie Mellon University and some other folks kind of associated with that. But PicoCTF is advertised as a learning environment and exercise for middle school to high school students. But there's a disclaimer and asterisk on that. Like, hey, don't beat yourself up. Like, oh, geez, why am I going to play some game for middle school and high school kids? Or if you do play and you're like, holy cow, this is over my head. They're way smarter than me. I don't mean for any of that to come across. I think the preface in there is that this is very beginner friendly. It is for you just getting started. And it's one that I tend to recommend to everyone because it's so good at giving you breadcrumbs. It's so good at kind of guiding you along with what you're learning. It'll offer hints, and it's just bite-sized, digestible chunks of learning. So PicoCTF is exceptional, and that's definitely one to Google and tinker with.
I mean, I want to get to a demo because, I mean, fortunately, you're the main man when it comes to demos. I really like to see some of the demos. But before we do that, what's your opinion of CTFs versus real-world experience? Is it close enough, or is it a good way to get like real experience without, having a job?
Yes. So your mileage may vary, right? But in my opinion, Capture the Flag is fantastic at bridging real-world skills because you are going to be looking at code, you are going to be looking at software, and depending on the games you play, depending on what activities and competitions you put yourself in, sure, some might have whatever old, archaic, deprecated thing that maybe the challenge author is wanting to showcase for nerd credibility or whatever, or it's a cheeky old cryptography thing that you never see in the real world, or it's a guessing game of steganography. There's plenty to complain about in some games, and I'll admit that. But the competitions and the challenges that are much more red team and blue team oriented, that focus on penetration testing or acting as the adversary or understanding the defense and getting to script or program your solutions, getting those chops in automation and understanding those different languages, that pays in dividends in the real world, right? I work kind of as a security researcher, so I analyze malware samples.
Yep.
And a lot of the understanding kind of came to me through just playing Capture the Flag, getting to know different languages and seeing what works and what doesn't, and just being exposed to it. So 1,000%, absolutely, Capture the Flag has incredible tie-in to real-world stuff.
I mean, that's great. I mean, so here's some nasty questions because I want to get too practical, but some difficult questions. You have to hire someone. If they have certs, fewer certs, sorry, the two people, one person with perhaps a lot of certs and one with fewer certs but a lot of Capture the Flags, which would you choose? I mean, there's obviously a million other factors, but I mean, basically I'm trying to get, would you weigh Capture the Flags more over certs or certs over Capture the Flags?
truthfully, I do, just me personally.
Yep.
I love seeing that drive and that passion, and someone kind of going out of their way in their free time, right? After hours, they're extracurricular. They're still invested in this stuff. They're still tinkering with those war games, or they're playing Capture the Flag, or they have a home lab set up, or they go to security conferences, they try and speak, or they volunteer, and they produce write-ups, they share and showcase in a blog or in a YouTube channel, whatever the case may be. I think that is so valuable, whether or not, hey, this person has a dozen certificates and they're plastered all over his wall. Well, if it's those rote memorization data dumps.
You can be honest. I mean, I fully agree with you. I mean, be honest. There's no holds barred here. It's just your opinion.
Yeah. I would certainly take the one that's on the keyboard, that's playing the Capture the Flags and in it, more so than, hey, I've poured through however many textbooks.
I mean, I think sorry to interrupt you. You kind of like, you hit it on the head there when you said some people can just memorize and some people are just good at exams. That doesn't equate to being good in the field, does it?
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes, yeah.
But
it's not guaranteed, though. Sorry, it's not guaranteed.
Yeah. I like the merit. I like the competency. I like the skills in action and what a person can bring to the table. That's, I think, what really makes an interview for me when hiring.
I mean, I'm glad you said that. I mean, I'm pushing you with questions that I've asked other people, and it's great to hear, from a wide range of people, similar kind of answers. And I think that's encouraging for anyone who's starting out. So, John, do you think CTFs help with blue team? I mean, are you in a red team role or a blue team role? And did the CTFs kind of help you with that?
Yeah. So Capture the Flag does 1,000% help with the blue team and the defense stuff. You'll see different competitions and different games that are much more focused on that, like OpenSOC for like an security operations center, or I think Boss of the SOC Splunk does if you're kind of into that scene. And those are much more tailored and specific to being the defense, being the blue team, doing incident response, etc. Traditionally, Capture the Flag just naturally leans more red team, more adversarial, understanding vulnerabilities and throwing exploits. There's nothing wrong with that, because knowing the offense, knowing kind of how that hacker works or the adversary and what they do and why they do it, that makes you a better defender.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thought. So I work right now as a security researcher doing kind of malware analysis stuff that I might have mentioned already, but it is a blue team role. It is defensive. It is incident response. It's knowing investigations and trying to keep track of, hey, what's worth firing the alarm and blowing the whistles to scream all about, hey, the dashboard's going off. There's a hacker here. There's evil and badness in your network. Well, how did they get there? Why are they still there? How can we get them out? A lot of that is very technical.
Yeah. And
you get all that and more in Capture the Flag. So
I mean, that's great to hear. I mean, your role is blue team, but I mean, like we said right in the beginning, you're a big advocate of CTFs, and it sounds like CTFs have actually made you better in your role because you understand the mind or all the technology behind the hacks. Is that kind of right?
Yeah. There are a lot of folks, right, that say, sure, some Capture the Flag, and we've brought up this conversation. Is it always applicable to real world? Isn't it just a toy? Isn't it just a game? Sure, sometimes maybe yes, but I owe all of my chops, like all of my skills from playing Capture the Flag. And I think everyone I've met, all the other folks that I kind of work with and know, they're the same way. They're like, hey, yeah, I got smart on this because I used to tinker with Capture the Flag. I would play some more games. And I think that's one way to do it and one of the best ways to do it.
Sorry, everyone, the video's got too long, so I'm going to have to cut it here. I want John to show us some practical stuff, but I'll put that in another video. John, really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Anything else you want to say before we cut the video?
Well, hey, this has been a real treat. I don't know if anyone watching happens to know, but this is the first time David and I have finally got together, so it's been an honor for me, and I'm flattered to be here with y'all.
And same with me, man. It's great to have you. So really appreciate you taking the time.